Look at all that.
Alright, so today this is my sister-in-law doing her very first dive. This is called a DSD dive, or a discovery diving dive. So what they do on these dives is, this is purely just to show you what diving is like. You're not going to do many skills. What he's doing right here is explaining to her that that means okay, this means you're not okay. And what you'll see pretty quickly on this is, what I wanted to go over is just some of the troubles that someone would have when they're new to diving. So I've got a few videos of a few different people doing their very first dives and some of the issues that they'll have. So right now he's having her just blow bubbles, just so she can get used to the fact that you can breathe out of that. Now you'll see very quickly that that mask starts to fog up, and she says that it's loose right here. So what we'll end up doing is we'll go back and forth between masks and getting her a good mask that'll actually fit her face. If you have the kind of cheeks like she's got and Jamie has, or pretty much anybody that has that pronounced cheek right there next to their nose, what happens is that tends to not create a good seal next to your face, and so that'll give you trouble sealing a mask, so you have to put it on really tight. So we go back and forth a few minutes on the different masks here, and so that they can figure that out, and then we'll come back. So right here brings up a good point that I wanted to show this. Anytime you have hair like you see that's coming down into her mask, you want to get that out of the way. He tells her to be sure to remove that, or I do it here, you see that. That can cause a leak. As you see, his mustache and beard is large. They got to make sure that they keep that out of the way. So if you have any sort of facial hair, if you have bangs, females that have long hair, that can create mask problems. That's not her problem right here. As you'll see, this thing, when she goes under, it fills up very quickly, and we end up changing out her mask. But that can be an issue if you have hair that's in the way. That's the reason the military gets everyone to shave, is because if you're not clean shaven, then the gas mask won't create a good seal. Same sort of issue here. This with hair getting in the way of that, it won't create a good seal, and it'll fill up pretty quick. I don't believe that was her problem. He's explaining to her these pronounced cheeks like I was talking about, that's going to cause issues. So once you get to about 10 feet, he says it stops for him. I believe that kind of happens for her, but the harder this press, she just doesn't have a mask really that fits her. This is her very first dive, so we're giving her mask. They're not set up for her that fits her very well. So we end up trading out to the mask we had her the first time. We treated it so that it won't fog as bad, and that ends up being what works for her. So you'll notice what we do here, you'll hear air releasing. We're going under right now, and you'll notice very quickly, if you pay attention to her mask, how quickly it fills up. And if you don't know how to clear a mask and you're not used to, see how it was over her eyes, and she just wants to stand up and get air. So she hasn't been taught yet how to clear a mask, so that's what we're about to go over. We're just seeing if this mask is going to fit her. And you can notice when he comes up, I don't know if you can hear it, but when we come up, he says, wow, that fills up fast. So most masks, when they don't create a good seal, it's just a small leak that you can just continuously clear, no big deal. But this one is filling up extremely fast. So we go ahead and change her masks. So here she is with another mask. We swapped them out and we treated this one, so this one's a little bit better. She still has a little bit of an issue with the mask filling up with water, but not nearly as much. And at this point in a dive, in a discovery dive, if you're doing a first dive, what happens is he's going to teach you, the instructor will teach you a few skills that you need to know. And he's already gave her a little bit of a briefing above water of what he expects of her and things that's important for her to know, and this is just a demonstration of those skills. So right now he's going to show her how to clear his mat. So you'll see him, he allows water to come into it, he looks up, he's holding the top of his mask and he's blowing out through his nose. He asks if she gets it, and then he tells her to do it, and she's going to demonstrate it. You see her allow water into it, and then she presses on the top of it, blows out of her nose, and you notice that the pressure is greater than what's in the mask, and he does a fist bump so that she knows she got it right. So at this point, he's going to show her that if you lose your regulator, if the regulator comes out of your mouth, always blow bubbles. When you put it back in, blow out and then breathe in. That's one way of purging it. She shows that she understands to blow the bubbles. He's explaining to her that she needs to blow out. She does that. Breathes in. At this point, I believe she thought he wanted her to show that she can clear the mask again, so she clears mask. I believe because he did it, she thought she needed to. So he's going to go ahead and go over that again. This time the purge technique is you're going to put it in and press the button. And so he shows her. It gives her a little bit of a scare there. It cracked me up. So he's showing her that's another way of purging it. So now we're going to go down to 10 feet. And this is just like going to the deep end of the pool, but what you'll notice is this is a big problem that people have, and I have other videos. I'm going to put a video together showing some of the most common problems, but a big problem whenever you're a new diver is equalizing, because they tell you do it early and often. So what that means is that you're putting the pressure in your ears the same as the ambient pressure. So because you're going down in your elevation in the water, the pressure is going to increase, and if you don't equalize, it'll blow your eardrums, and it's really painful. So you'll notice what happens is she goes down, she can't equalize because she didn't do it early enough. If you wait to equalize to do it properly, it becomes pretty painful, and a lot of people will kind of freak out. And you'll notice another issue that people have is the buoyancy. So your legs are way lighter in the water. Obviously you're kind of weightless. It's really weird because when you're on land, your legs don't just float up past your head, but when you're in the water and you're trying to stand or stay still, when you're not used to this, what happens is your legs kind of will go crazy and your buoyancy will be all off. And this is not just a her thing. This is every new diver that I've ever seen, and that I did also. It's just kind of a, when you're new in the water and you're not used to wearing all this equipment, you're heavier up top, and then all of a sudden you're weightless when you get in the water. It's really weird. So right here she's explaining that the equalizing was a problem, and he's telling her how she can fix that. So he's basically telling her, you know, do it early and do it often. So what you'll often see also is people, they'll look like they're equalizing, but they're not actually doing it proper. What they'll be doing is they'll be holding the tip of their nose, and instead of holding their nose and actually creating that pressure like you're on an airplane or going up a mountain or whatever, what'll happen is the air is just coming out of their mask, which means air is coming out of their nose. And right here, someone was telling us that there was a emergency going on over. So what had happened, I believe what happened actually is this lady was at 60 foot, and I believe what happened is that she was too heavy a little bit. She was going down. They said she breathed water, so perhaps what happened is water got in her mask and she breathed it in through her nose, trying to clear it, that she was going down too far. And what ended up happening is she rocketed to the top, which is a life-threatening thing. You don't ever rocket to the top from any sort of depth. That's extremely dangerous. That's one of the first things that you're taught in scuba diving, is do not do that. So at this point he's making sure everything's okay. He's explaining to her, if you yawn, if you if you move your jaw around, if you equalize often, you should be alright. So he kind of explains all that to her, and then he's explaining what all she needs to do to be able to equalize, and we're going again. So I added in this part right here. This is another student. I just wanted to show that this was a common problem with the being able to equalize and the buoyancy issue. A lot of people will go up and down, and they have trouble controlling how much they go up and down. And they also have the trouble with the equalizing, as you see this student here having. And also you'll notice that their legs tend to fly up, and again, that's because you're not used to your legs being weightless and trying to come up past you. You see her shaking her head and stuff, and he's going to tell her, he's going to ask her if she's okay, and then he's going to tell her to go up higher so that she can get on the clear. So when you're having trouble equalizing, if it's difficult to do it, if you waited too late, it helps to go up a few feet and try it again, and usually it'll clear, and then you can come back down. And early and often is the key. Here's another student that had the same sort of issue. He asked if she was okay, and she said she wanted to go up. She's having trouble equalizing also. And you'll notice her legs are kind of coming up. You'll see the buoyancy issue. So this is a common problem. You'll see more of that throughout the DSD. When someone's new, they have a little bit of an issue with being able to control that weightlessness that is there. So here we are back on this DSD, and so you'll notice some of the issues that you've seen. You'll see them start to happen here on this DSD. She does an excellent job. I want to say that, first of all, this is her very first dive, so you can't expect someone to just know what it's like to be weightless immediately. Everyone has these issues their first dives, and then as you get used to it, also one of the things you'll do when you're new is you'll suck down air really quickly, and as you get used to it and the anxiety goes away and you get used to being weightless and you learn to orient your body flat, you'll see that she has a little bit of a trouble orienting her body flat, because it's just because you're new to it. So as the anxiety goes away and you learn to position your body and you're used to that weightlessness feeling, you stop sucking down air, you stop having these buoyancy issues. You see she's having trouble going down and equalizing right here. That's all normal for a normal dive. Still, you'll have the time of your life if you've never done it. Right here he's trying to tell me that he forgot his computer, and I'm thinking he's asking about time, and I have no clue what he's trying to say. He ends up writing it down, but at first I'm like, what is he wanting to know? My computer? You want to know my computer? What time it is? I have no clue what you're doing. And then he points at me, he points up, he's like, go look at what time it is. And I'm like, what? I got a watch right here, bro. What are you saying? Here, write it down. And so then he's telling me, go get my computer. And so one of the things you'll notice is he's trying to, like, he wants to keep in contact with his students so that she doesn't panic, she's not able to go to the top. Granted, right here we're only at 10 foot, not a big deal, but you'll notice he keeps contact with her at all times so that she can't, if she freaks out, he's got her. So he tells me go get my computer, and that's what I'm doing right here. So here I am getting his computer, and one thing I wanted to point out right here is how quickly I can go down because I'm used to equalizing. I know to do it very often. So one hand that you don't see right now is just I'm constantly equalizing, and you see how fast I can descend. And I can descend a lot faster than this if I wanted to, but I'm just equalizing the whole time I do it. So that's the difference between someone who's done a lot of dives and then someone who's brand new at it. If you don't know to do it early, and you don't know to do it before it starts causing pressure, it becomes really difficult and kind of painful. So you just want to constantly do that. And all it is just, closing off your nose, pinching your nose, and blowing so that you pop your ears. That's all it is. And if you do it early and often, it's not uncomfortable at all. It's just repressurizing to the outside pressure. If you wait, it's really painful and really difficult. Right here I'm pointing out a fish, and he's going to karate chop it. So I'll go ahead and take this opportunity when we start to swim here. You see her, she's already learned how to clear her mash. She did good just now. It got a little water in it, she's clearing it. So I'll go ahead and take this opportunity. I've had a lot of questions about what it costs to dive, what it costs in equipment, to get started, to train, all that. So just kind of enjoy some of the views here and her taking her first dive, and I'll answer some of those questions. So when you first learn to dive, it costs about $500, $600. He charges $550 to do the certification that I have. So It's not very expensive considering how much I've enjoyed it. I feel like I've really got my money's worth. I'm on today, the day I filmed this made my 70th dive. So I only got certified last year, so I've done a ton of dives. I've definitely got my money's worth. So not that much money. It is something you'll want to save up for. Obviously, that is a little bit of coin, but not as much compared to how much you'll use with it, especially if you like to go to the ocean and things like that. So it costs about $500 to $600 to get trained. You'll notice he's doing a frog kick. I'd like to point that out real quick. So that's a different type of kick instead of the flutter kicks. So 2 different kicks. So it costs that, and then equipment is really where you're going to spend your money. And if you do like I did and you shop around and you're not really in a hurry to buy anything or anything like that, you can get out of that pretty cheap. So the suit that I have is like a $600 suit. It's the one that the instructor's wearing right here. We have the same suit. We got these suits at the same time for a really good deal. The suit is probably one of the most expensive things I have, and I paid $120 for it. That's normally a $600 suit. Or $650, something like that. It's crazy expensive, but we got it on sale from some website. I forget where it was, but it's same suit, same quality, great semi-dry suit, and I can go down into 50-degree water in this thing and still be warm. So if you shop around and you're not in a hurry to get stuff, it can be pretty cheap. The most expensive thing, you'll notice what the tank is attached to, that bag that's on their backs, right there where it says Eagle. You just saw that on her back. That is the most expensive thing. That's the most expensive part of the kit. What that is that's called a buoyancy control device, and what that does is that controls how much you go up and how much you go down. So you'll see right here, he's got control of her buoyancy. And so he's taking her through here, and we're sightseeing some of the things that's under here. You see the skeleton, she'll high-five it here in a second. And so the buoyancy control device that's on her back and on everyone's back, that's the most expensive thing, because I tell everyone this isn't like swimming. You would think it'd be more like swimming, but it's not. It's more like, I guess, like flying, because there's no struggle to stay where you're at, so you control your elevation by that bag that's on your back with that buoyancy control device. So if I want to go down, if I have my buoyancy control set properly, if I want to go down, all I do is breathe out a little and I'll lower a little. If I want to go up, I breathe in a little and I'll go up a little. You never, ever, 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 ever hold your breath while scuba diving. Ever. That is very dangerous. It's a good way to hurt yourself. And that's what happened to the lady that ended up being hospitalized. You never hold your breath while scuba diving. That's a big no-no. Even if something happened and you had to go to the top and you're out of air, what little bit of air you have left you use to say on the whole way to the surface. So big deal, never hold your breath. Just want to throw that out there. So when I'm talking about breathing in a little or breathing out a little, I'm talking about breathing in more than a regular breath. So if I want to go up, I'll breathe in more than a regular breath. If I want to go down, I'll breathe out more than I would breathe out. I'd empty my lungs. And so that's one way to control it. The other way to control it is just add air or take away air from that buoyancy control device, and that just controls the elevation that you go. So you get to pick where you're at in this water column based on your buoyancy control device. So therefore, that is the most expensive thing. That's the most important. It also holds that tank. Next is going to be whether you want to buy your own tank or whether you want to rent one. I got a really good deal on a lot of stuff. A lot of my gear, I'll be honest with you, came off Craigslist, and we got it for a steal. We got 3 tanks, a bunch of masks, a bunch of fins, and stuff. We ended up only paying like $120 each, and we got three tanks. It was actually 5 tanks, but 2 of them weren't good anymore, but still we got 3 tanks. We got all the gear that we have. I think total, everything that I have total, even though I've upgraded a lot of stuff, I have a mask that has a GoPro mount on it, everything. I don't think I'm $1,000 in going scuba diving. Now on air refills and 70 dives, it's $8 a fill. You can figure that one out. I've spent some money there, but I have my own tank, so I'm not having to rent each time, so it comes out a little bit better for me, and I can go wherever I want to go instead of having to wait. You notice right here the skeleton that we just saw, he accidentally picked up the wig that was on the skeleton. I gotta run it back real quick. I take it to a rock that's near that so they can find it and put it back on it. I didn't want to lose the group, so I just get it kind of closer to where to this rock right here so they could see it, because that bright orange kind of stands out, and then I go back to them. So if you shop around the regulators, the things like that, as long as you do your research and you really pay attention to what you're getting, you're not buying something from the 70s or something like that, you can really get into this for under $1,000, and that's being trained and get your own equipment. Renting, if you don't plan on doing it often, you just want to do it 1 or 2 times a year, you don't have to buy all your stuff. You can rent it. Pretty much every good dive site you can rent, and you can rent everything you need: the fins, the suit, the tanks, everything you need. And a lot of them will let you take it off-site, so you could rent it from a place, take it off-site, go dive your favorite area, close, and then bring it back. So it doesn't cost a lot of money to do this. So as you see, I want to point out some of the things that we've missed. You see I keep looking back at Jamie and making sure he's good. You'll see us doing the OK symbol or the white power symbol if you're an idiot. Some people think that means white power. That's not what that means. So we're just, that's how you check on each other. Hey, are you okay? You get on air, sort of thing. See this bass right here, almost get him. And so you'll notice that right here, she's more pointed upwards, and that's causing her feet, I kind of joke around with him, it's causing her feet to kick up a cloud. And you'll see the instructor's feet aren't doing that because he's more leveled out, and that just comes with experience. So she's new at it, and it's hard for her to feel. She probably feels like she's level here, but she's actually not. This fish right here, I believe, may have been on a bed or something. He was not going away, even when I'm getting this close to him. It's a pretty good sized fish though. Now I'll leave him. But you can see I can follow them by that cloud there, just by her technique of how she's doing. So if you're at a pool, see, we've gone to some places like Lake Allatoona, Carter's Lake, places like that have a lot of silt on the bottom. If you did that right there, your dives right there is ruined because there's so much silt, and it doesn't just go away. This is really clear water right here. This is spring fed, this is a quarry, so it's not that big of an issue right here. But if you did that on the lake, it causes issues, and this is why you really don't want to go straight to the bottom and touch the bottom. You want to kind of stay like we're at right here, where you're kind of above the bottom, and you can see what you need to see. And then if you need to go down and get something off the bottom, you breathe out more. You go down, you check out what you're wanting to touch, pick up, whatever, check out, whatever, and then you breathe in a little more, and you come up. He's pointing at those fish that are chasing them. So another thing right here that you'll notice is, well, I keep checking on my air. I'm checking on my air and I'm checking on my depth. This would be creepy right here if you didn't know this was here and you just came up on this in a river or something, a lake or something. That'd be creepy. People have graffitied all over them. I think that's funny. So I go to look in here, like I wonder if they've put anything in here. You never know. Someone put something in there and wait for the next guy to find it. That would be really creepy to find without knowing it was there. I have found a car while kayaking. I hit a car a couple weeks ago and ended up having to call the police. Turned out there wasn't a body in it. The guy got out of it. So she's having a really good time here. You see her, she's learned to clear that mask. She's doing a good job keeping that mask clear. He's pretty much dragging her around. He's not going to let go of you. So if you're worried about diving, if you're worried about being in any sort of danger or anything like that, the instructor is going to be right there with you, holding on to you. He's not going to let anything happen to you or anything like that. So you're completely safe. He's not going to let you out of your sight. He's not even going to let you go. So if you're just wondering about this, if it's something you want to do, you don't have to worry about it being dangerous or anything like that. Now you'll notice that at this part of the dive, I'll continuously be checking my air and checking my level here. You'll see me constantly look at that. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're at kind of a low level here. This is somewhere around 10, 15 feet. And it's really hard to control your buoyancy at that shallow of a depth. So if you go up a little too high and take a breath in, what happens is the air expands that's in that pack that we were talking about, that BCD, and you start rocketing to the top, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to constantly have to want to swim down. So it's easier to just keep an eye on what you're doing so that you don't start rocketing to the top. So you kind of keep an eye on where your level is. If you mean to be at 15 feet and all of a sudden you're at 8 feet, you need to dump air. So you see that I lowered there, and you'll also notice that I keep checking on him. You see how she's kicking right here? That's not a traditional flutter kick. He does a little dance here. It's not a traditional flutter kick. That's from just not being used to kicking in the water, and he's kind of pulling her around, so she can't really tell how efficient she's kicking. So you can't fault her on that. She can't really tell how much she's going, because his kick that he's doing there is a really efficient kick, so he's just kind of pulling her along, so no big deal. I know someone will remark on that and say that that's the wrong way to kick, but she's doing the best that she can. It's probably really hard for her to tell that she's not really doing much there. So you'll notice I keep looking around at her, making sure she's okay, checking on him, checking on my dive buddy here. Now, we started this dive after he did his certification dive. So Jamie here, my other dive buddy here, he had just got through getting certified. So we're both low on air. So you'll see I keep checking my air, checking his, or he's checking his, and he'll signal to me how much he's got. Right there, I think he's got 7 right there. He's got 700, and it's almost time to go up. You don't really want to push these anywhere around 500. So once you get anywhere near that, you want to go ahead and come up to the surface and get your tank filled. It'll damage the tank, and some places won't even refill a tank that's been ran all the way out. So you don't want to really get it to that point. So at this point, he knows he's at 7. He's going to start checking his air constantly, and we're going to have to abandon this dive and let them go ahead and go on. We go ahead and go to the top and surface swim back to the starting point so they know that they didn't lose us, and then we meet back up with them. So you'll see here in a second we end up abandoning the dive. Alright, well, I hope that answered any of the questions that you might have about maybe getting started into scuba diving, or maybe if you're just interested in the topic. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. I know this is a little bit different video than what we've been doing, but hopefully this answered a lot of the people's questions that I've been getting my way. So alright guys, we'll go ahead and the next video that's coming up here is going to be the kind of the AAR. You see him he's noticing what's going on. So alright, let's check out the AAR.
I was having fun playing with lights through that time around.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you get it on your own.
Holy smokes.
So?
Oh, that made me a little bit dizzy there at the last.
You should try
What'd you think?
kicking underwater instead of running.
I know! I can't try to...
You were running underwater the entire time. Jesus. And Willie's over there going, okay, I'm going to drag both of us.
Sorry.
That, you did awesome.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you did awesome. You're natural.
Thank you.
Do you like it?
We were down
Yeah,
to
I
a
liked
depth of 20 feet, and we've been underwater for 20 minutes.
Okay. That was
I tried to
good.
keep up in the warm area. You felt the cold.
Yeah, I did.
So we
I
were
was like,
going
whoa.
over deeper water. The cold water started to both on us.
Okay.
And it is unbelievable.
Isn't it crazy how
between
much of a
20
difference?
and 30 it gets.
Ain't it crazy how it's like warm,
Yeah.
cold, warm, cold?
Yeah, it wasn't all that cold. It wasn't.
And that's a thermocline.
Well, that's the first one.
That's the first.
Take her to 30.
Oh.
It's not that cold.
You did great.
Thank you.
You did awesome.
That
Good job.
was fun.